Have you ever noticed how someone reacts when you suddenly disappear from their life? At first, they may act like they don't care or that they don't have any feelings. But do you know what's going on inside them? Confusion, regret, obsession all creep in. Your silence becomes louder than words, and before they know it, they're lost in your thoughts. Why is this the case? What exactly do they feel when you're gone? And most importantly, how can you use it to your advantage? In this video, we describe 7 powerful psychological reactions that people experience when you just disappear. From regret to obsession, you'll discover their hidden emotions that help them realize your value to them, only to find out when it's too late. If you want to know about these 7 powerful psychological reactions and are ready to question them all, watch the full video and hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon to get new videos about this type of relationship, attraction, and the power of the mind, so that the next video reaches you first. Let's get started, and believe me, by the end of this video, you will never look at walking away the same way again. Let's go. Number 1. Mental chaos. What just happened to my reality? When you suddenly vanish, their mind doesn't just register absence, it experiences chaos. Their world, which once included you, now has a missing piece, and the brain hates unanswered questions. The human mind is wired to seek patterns and closure, and when you disappear without warning, they scramble to connect the dots. At first, they'll replay every conversation, scanning for red flags they might have ignored. Did they say something wrong? Did you meet someone else? Were you secretly unhappy the whole time? These unanswered questions will haunt them, keeping them up at night. And here's the twist. When the mind can't find answers, it starts inventing them. That's when the paranoia kicks in. They might start seeing signs that never existed before, overanalyzing old texts, or imagining scenarios where you're out there thriving while they're left in the dark. The worst part, the more they think, the deeper they sink into mental exhaustion. And what happens when the brain gets no closure? It obsesses. That's why disappearing is such a psychological power move. It turns you from just another person into an unresolved mystery. And mysteries? They don't just fade away, they linger. Now, mix this mental chaos with nostalgia, and you create the perfect storm. They'll start romanticizing the past, filtering out all the negatives. Even if they took you for granted, now they'll only remember your best moments. The brain's natural tendency to idealize lost things makes them see you as more valuable than ever before. And here's the kicker. The longer you stay silent, the deeper this chaos grows. It's not just your absence they feel. It's the unanswered questions, the unresolved emotions, and the fact that they no longer know where they stand in your world. Your disappearance doesn't just remove you from their life. It rewires their mind, turning you into a puzzle they can't stop trying to solve. Number 2. Ego destruction. Wait, wasn't I in control? One of the hardest pills to swallow in life is realizing you were never as important to someone as you thought. And when you disappear, you deliver that pill in the most brutal way possible. People like to believe they have influence over others. In relationships, friendships, and even casual connections, most individuals operate under an illusion of control. They think, I know this person, I understand them, I affect them. But when you disappear without explanation, you shatter that illusion. At first, they might try to downplay it. Oh, they're probably just busy. But as days pass, reality creeps in. Wait, are they really gone? This is when their ego starts to crumble. If they always thought you'd chase them, Your silence is a direct attack on their self-image. If they assumed they had power over you, your vanishing act proves them wrong. And nothing is more painful to the ego than realizing you were never in control to begin with. The irony: the more dominant or self-assured they seemed before, the harder this ego shock hits. They start grasping for ways to restore their perceived power, reaching out, posting cryptic messages, or even pretending they don't care. But deep down, they're spiraling. Ego destruction doesn't just hurt, it changes them. It forces them to rethink their place in your life, and in some cases, even their self-worth. Some people handle this by growing, learning, and adjusting their behavior. Others, they lash out, trying to project confidence while secretly battling insecurity. But make no mistake, when you disappear, their ego never walks away unscathed. It might take days, weeks, or even months, but eventually they'll realize the power dynamic has shifted, and once that happens, they'll either try to reclaim their lost power or be forced to accept that you've moved beyond their reach. Number 3. Regret on steroids. I never realized what I had until it was gone. Regret is a slow poison. It doesn't hit all at once. It seeps in, bit by bit, rewriting the past in a way that makes them ache for what they lost. At first, they might not even realize they miss you, but then the little things start to haunt them. Your laugh, your words, the energy you brought into their life. They start remembering moments they once overlooked, now painted in the golden glow of nostalgia. Here's where it gets interesting. The human brain has a built-in flaw. It tends to glorify the past once it's out of reach. So even if they took you for granted before, your absence suddenly makes you seem irreplaceable. That's when the regret truly sinks in. They'll wonder, did I push them away? Did I fail to appreciate them? Could I have done things differently? They might even try to fix things. But if you're smart, you'll understand one simple truth. Regret only holds power when it's left unresolved. And this regret doesn't fade quickly. It lingers, creeping into their quiet moments, whispering reminders of what they lost. The deeper their connection with you was, the harder this realization hits. And here's the ultimate twist. If they see you thriving, glowing, and unbothered without them, that regret amplifies into something even more powerful: self-blame. They won't just miss you, they'll blame themselves for losing you. The cruelest part of regret. It often arrives too late. By the time they realize your value, you've already moved on. And that's a feeling they'll never fully escape. Number 4. Anxiety overload. Are they gone forever? If there's one thing the human mind struggles with, it's uncertainty. When someone disappears without warning, it doesn't just leave a void. It creates a mental battlefield of unanswered questions. Anxiety isn't just about missing someone, it's about the not knowing. And that's exactly what makes your silence so powerful. At first, they try to play it cool. Maybe they're just busy. Maybe they needed space. But as time stretches on and you don't return, the mind shifts from rationalizing to overthinking. They start running through every possible scenario, each one worse than the last. Did you find someone else? Did they push you away without realizing it? Was everything they believed about your connection just an illusion? Anxiety isn't just emotional, it's physical. Their heart races when they see your name, or the absence of it. Their stomach sinks when they realize you haven't reached out. They may even start losing sleep, lying awake, replaying past conversations, trying to decode hidden meanings. This anxiety doesn't just stay, it grows. They'll start looking for signs everywhere, checking your social media, asking mutual friends about you, or even convincing themselves that they'll accidentally run into you. But the cruel truth is, the more they search for answers, the less peace they'll find. And here's the real kicker. The longer you remain silent, the more their brain builds you up into something larger than life. They don't just miss you, they start craving you, like a puzzle piece that no longer fits into their reality. And that emotional void, it's not something they can easily fill with distractions. No matter what they do, that nagging question lingers in their mind. Are they gone forever? Number 5. Bitterness and resentment. I hate them for making me feel this way. When anxiety and regret reach their peak, and they realize they have no control over your actions, something dark begins to creep in. Resentment. They don't just miss you anymore, they start to hate the fact that they miss you. The mind, when faced with an unsolvable problem, looks for a way to regain power. If they can't bring you back, they'll try to convince themselves that you were never worth it to begin with. That's when they start telling themselves things like, they weren't that special anyway, they were overrated, I never really needed them, but let's be real, this bitterness isn't strength. It's a defense mechanism. It's their mind's desperate attempt to shield them from the pain of your absence. It's much easier to rewrite history than to admit that they lost something valuable. This resentment manifests in different ways. Some will act cold and distant, pretending they don't care. Others will lash out, bad-mouthing you to mutual friends, posting passive-aggressive messages online, or even trying to make you jealous by flaunting their new life without you. But here's the truth. Hatred is still an emotional investment. If they truly didn't care, they wouldn't react at all. The opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. And the fact that they feel anything towards you means your presence still holds weight in their life. Resentment is just another mask for attachment. They might tell the world they're over you, but deep down, they're still wrestling with the loss. And as long as that bitterness lingers, so do you, living rent-free in their mind. Number 6. Unstoppable curiosity. Where are they now? Even when they claim to have moved on, curiosity never truly dies. One of the most powerful psychological hooks is the unknown, and when you disappear, you don't just become an old memory, you become an unsolved mystery. At first, they might force themselves to avoid thinking about you, but over time, that itch to know what's happening in your life becomes impossible to ignore. They'll start wondering, are they thriving without me? Did they replace me? Do they even think about me anymore? And this curiosity can be tormenting. They'll find themselves stalking your social media, hoping to get even the tiniest glimpse into your life. If you seem happy and unbothered, it hits them like a punch to the gut. If you're quiet, they assume you're hiding something. And that makes them want to know even more. This isn't just about missing you, it's about comparison. Humans naturally compare their lives to others, and when they can't measure where they stand with you, it eats them alive. If they see you leveling up, looking better, achieving more, or surrounded by new people, the fear of being left behind kicks in. This curiosity isn't something they can just turn off. Every unanswered question makes you more intriguing. Every piece of missing information makes you more valuable. And as long as they don't have closure, their mind will keep circling back to you, trying to figure out what really happened. Disappearing doesn't just make them miss you, It makes them obsess over you, trying to piece together the story they were never given. And the best part? The less they know, the more they crave the truth. Number 7. The silent realization. I can't change this anymore. At some point, after all the confusion, regret, anxiety, resentment and curiosity, they reach the final and most painful stage. Acceptance. This is when it finally hits them. You're really gone. And there's nothing they can do about it. This realization doesn't come easily. It's usually triggered by a major moment. Seeing you with someone new, watching you move on without them, or simply waking up one day and realizing that you've become a ghost in their world. At this point, their emotions shift from desperate attempts to get you back to a deep, aching sadness. Because for the first time, they truly understand what they lost. And the most brutal part, they can't change the past. This stage often brings clarity. They finally see the mistakes they made, the way they took you for granted, or the things they wish they had done differently. And that realization, it doesn't fade overnight. It stays with them, lingering like an old scar, a reminder of what happens when you don't appreciate something until it's gone. Some will try to reach out, hoping to undo the damage. But often it's too little, too late. And the silence they once ignored now becomes deafening. Your disappearance didn't just affect them in the moment. It left a lasting impression, a lesson they won't soon forget. Because some losses aren't just temporary. They change you forever. Disappearing isn't just an exit. It's a psychological trigger that flips the script entirely. It forces them to confront emotions they never planned for, making you the one thing they can't ignore. When you walk away without a trace, you don't just leave. You become a mystery, a what-if, and most importantly, a lesson they never saw coming. Here's the real power move. Silence isn't weakness. It's control. The loudest statement you can make is no statement at all. While they wrestle with their emotions, obsessing, regretting, resenting, you're out there living, unbothered, thriving. And that's what stings the most. They might try to fill the void, pretend they don't care, or even chase distractions to escape the truth. But deep down, they know you were different. You weren't just another person in their life. You were a presence, an energy, a force they underestimated. By the time they realize what they lost, the clock has already run out. And that's the beauty of disappearing. You don't come back the same. If they find you again, it won't be the person they once knew. It'll be someone stronger, wiser, and way out of reach. So remember this, your absence isn't a loss. It's a shift in power. And once they feel the weight of your silence, they'll never see you the same way again. Be the one they remember, not the one they replace.